Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside USF Basketball. I'm your host, Pat Olson. The Dons off a great 21-win season, 13-5 in the West Coast Conference, their most wins in league play since way back in the 1976 and 1977 season, and a postseason trip to the NIT. We'll sit down with USF head coach Rex Walters. We'll look back at this past season, but mostly we'll look ahead because this is a program on the rise and the Dons building towards next year. That all happens right now with Rex Walters. Rex, assess the season, if you would. A good year for your team, postseason, third year in the last four. You have to be proud of what this team accomplished.
Yeah, our guys did a good job. It was a good year. It was a fun year. Crazy year, a lot of different things, but no, the way our guys came together and played, had a chance to win our conference. A couple possessions short in terms of the conference trying to get into the finals. I thought we played LSU tough. We didn't play particularly well. I haven't watched the tape yet. I'm still putting that on the back list. Overall, very positive. Probably the best group I've coached since I've been here. They were fun to be around, fun group.
Something to build on. You've gone to postseason 3 of the last 4 years. Obviously, you want to keep climbing with this program.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something to build on. You return a lot. You lose Cole. I mean, Cole's so good. Was such a stabilizing force for us, not just in the locker room, but obviously on the court. You needed a bucket. You needed a big play. Cole was a guy that could really step up. He can score in a lot of different ways. So we'll really miss him. So we got one scholarship available. Trying to find the right guy for that. Had a kid on campus last weekend. So we're working hard to fill out the roster and make sure our guys are all locked in for next year. We feel we got a good team coming back. I got some guys that were sitting out that we need to challenge. Got some few injuries. Guys got to clean up some stuff and get healthy to go into the spring and summer. So hopefully all those things go well and we can build on what was a pretty good year.
You mentioned your senior, Cole Dickerson. How tough was it to kind of say so long to him? He's played his final game wearing green and gold.
Yeah, very difficult. What he's been through in his 4 years, what he's accomplished in his 4 years, 3 postseason tournaments, 2-time all-conference player, multiple times I think it was a conference player of the week. Just really proud of him. It was very difficult after the game. I'm an emotional guy anyways, but he's special. I'm going to really miss him.
As you look to next year, how much will you rely on Avery Holmes? We really saw him grow up a lot this year at the point guard position. He kind of had to assume the job, and during conference play, he made a number of big plays late in key games to get you W's, and I would imagine that he's a guy that, from a leadership point to next year, you're probably going to expect him to grab some of those reins.
Yeah, obviously with each year, more has been thrust upon him. We talked to him today, actually, it was one of our meetings, and talked about a lot of different things and just the natural maturation process for him. And it's a lot of responsibility being a point guard, and he's really talented, and we want him to take that next step. He was a really good leader for this year, but taking another step as a leader, in the weight room, obviously at pickup games, in workouts, and then obviously practice. There's a lot of things you can do with Avery. He's really talented, can score the ball a lot of different ways, and it's going to be fun for me to find more ways now with the departure of Cole, find more ways to get him the basketball, because he has to get off of it sometimes too, but to get the ball back into his hands and let him make some plays.
What about the kid Uche? He was another guy that this year had to redshirt because of the transfer rule out of SMU. What will he bring to the table for your club next year?
He brings great size and athleticism to the wing spot. Really good size, good shooter. We want him to be a great shooter. One of our best finishers on the break and in traffic. So no, he's a good player. I'm excited for him and the opportunity that's in front of him.
The young man, Corey Hilliard, got hurt during the year, so he had to redshirt, so he'll come back next year. And then you've got the kid from down in my area, down from Burlingame, Frankie Ferrari, who I've seen play a couple of times. Exciting player to watch. Obviously, there's going to be some competition for minutes at that point guard slot.
Yeah, Corey can play the two, too. He's got great size for the position. He can obviously guard the basketball. But he can play some point and maybe back up Avery, but also play some two. He's a good player. He's fast, athletic. Didn't have the advantage that some of the other guys did not playing in the summer. I think that really hurt him. this will give him, and he's still not 100% healthy, but once we get to late spring and then the late summer, we'll have time to work with him and help him work through some things. But he really is a good player. I mean, he's going to have a chance to play. He's going to have to be a better chaser to play the 2 spot, but his decision making's gotten better when he does play the point. So I'm excited for him as well.
When you first came here, Coach, you talked about developing a winning culture, having guys that feel like when they go on the court they can beat anybody. 3 postseasons in the last 4 years. I mentioned that here at the top of the interview. Do you think that winning culture has arrived? Is this program, in that direction where you want it to go?
No, we want more than that. It's not where it needs to be. We're taking some time off right now, but really focusing on taking pride in our pickup games about our defense and being able to coach themselves and push each other. So that when I finally step on the court in October, they've already raised the bar. I think that good teams really do that. They take great pride in the spring and the summer, and they understand that, yes, we have a lot of talent coming back, but talent doesn't win ball games, teams do, and we got to be a great team, and you become a great team with your work in the spring and in the summer, a little bit in the fall as well, and then you put it all together once practice starts.
Do you feel like you've entered maybe a little bit into that upper echelon? We've talked about the top 3, the top 4. I know you want to finish in first place, but you finished tied for 2, second place with BYU. Have you entered into that arena where you're now the conversation as a top 4 team in this league?
Yeah, I don't know about all that. It's nice walking around the city, people saying, "Hey, great year, congratulations," and they recognize what our guys have done. That's really nice. But no, I mean, next year's a new year. We did some really good things this year. We got to continue to build upon what we did, and if we do that, then the results will come.
Coach, you mentioned you've got 1 slot left. I know you can't talk specifically about recruits. Do you have a position in mind, or are you just going to go get the best guy that's out there?
We'd love a 4-3, a guy. Our 4s are really 3s. We like perimeter skilled 4s. Cole could really play the 3 spot a lot of different places, and he did for us in a lot of different ways. Mark was the same way. Cruz is the same way. We want another guy like that. Cruz can play the 5. Mark can play the 5 in a pinch. We'd like a guy that can play both the 4 and maybe has some perimeter skills, because we want to stretch you out and make you guard, all 4 perimeter players, and hopefully that will relieve some pressure off of Cruz, Jarrell, and Ticket inside.
Coach, congratulations on a great season, and I know you're going to get after it in the recruiting trails.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.